to you from a new location. I am currently in the log cabin office at the campground. I'm all alone. Nobody else is here. I'm still isolated. Office is closed for now. But I wanted to figure maybe if I came down here, I'd get a better connection. So I'm going to add the disclaimer right now because I don't know if it's going to work or not. But I live in the country, so this is going to possibly have pixelated sections. So be prepared that it may get pixelated, but usually it's just a couple seconds and then we're back. And I've got some really great stuff to share with you. Now, if you've got a second and you want to run and grab a, paper and pen, you may or may not have something you will want to write down. So, what is it? The Girl Scouts motto, be prepared, or is that Boy Scouts? I don't remember. Scouts is Scouts. I never made it past brownies. I don't know. All right, so let's start today. We're probably not going to be interrupted by Tish today since she's at home and I'm here. All right, well, let's begin, as I like to, with a review. What are you wearing? I'm, of course, dressed, and today I have jeans on because I'm doing laundry. So while I'm up here speaking downstairs in the campground office where I have the washer that's doing my laundry right now. And okay, so hopefully you're dressed. If you're not, and it is before noon, if it's afternoon, go get your clothes on. Remember, you're going to be more happier. You're going to feel better about the way you look if you get your regular clothes on for daytime activities. I know it's tempting to hang out in jammies, but not a good idea. Okay, so let's take a review of the things we've been talking about. First of all, some of the things we said were important is making sure you have problems that you turn into projects. And I'd like to put you on the spot about that. Are there any problems you've turned into projects in the past 3 days? This is day 3 of our metaphysical adventure. And so, can you name 5 things you did yesterday that were out of the ordinary? Get up, get dressed, eat, 5 things you did that will make a difference. I sure learned a lot yesterday when I had to take those 2, when my message got separated and I had to take it to, I have a program called Movavi and blend it. I haven't done that in years. So I fixed the video and bingo, it's up on YouTube. Remember, if you're on YouTube and you see the subscribe now button down in the right-hand corner, click it so you'll always know when we've got our daily message on for our adventure. So, what are you thinking? Did you think of 5 things you did yesterday out of the ordinary, projects, goals? Did you get up and get dressed? Check that off on the list. Did you cook something special? These are the things you wanna be looking at, that you're doing something different every day. You're going about your business and getting to even one goal. Even one goal is good. So, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? Do you have 5 things on your list, big or small, that are not just your ordinary mundane tasks? If you don't, take that little paper and pencil and write down as we go along ideas you may get about something you can do. All right. When you'll know one of my favorite things in the world are sticky notes. Man, I live by these things. Post-its. This actually was written down. I am currently recording my novel, The Secret of Sweetwater Stream. I'm putting that up for Audible, which means I go and record every week. And whether I'm going to continue that right now or whether I'm going to stay perfectly isolated, oh, I really want to get that book done, but can't do that one from home. So we'll see. But when I was recording the other day, a thought occurred to me. This is neat handwriting, it's not mine. But it says a period of adjustment. You know, ideas come to us at all times, which is why it's a great idea to always have a notepad. I have a notepad in my purse, and I keep my Post-its near me, and I have little, I repurpose scrap paper. I cut it into quarters and use it for my notes. But this, I remembered, we have to understand we are going through a period of adjustment. You know, I used to have a little cartoon hanging on my refrigerator. I'm big on that. I put cartoons to remind me of important things. And this one had a picture of a woman, and it said, first day of vacation. And she's standing on the beach in her suit with her briefcase and sunglasses and a hat. Then the next picture of the next image of the cartoon is her sitting at her desk, leaning on her elbow, sunglasses and hat on, and a drink with a little umbrella, a parasol straw, and you know, that little thing, that umbrella they put in fancy drinks. And she's like, so she went through a period of adjustment, shifting from her busy business style and had to let go. And then she went on vacation. Oh my God. Then she had to have a period of adjustment to get back to work. Right now, a lot of what you're feeling is a period of adjustment. And we have to be honest. Some of this is anxiety, and some of it is sadness. I mean, we like to go to the office and talk to our friends and feel like we're doing meaningful work. We have to adjust to find a way to doing it at home. Okay. I have some good news, and I want to tell you, remember yesterday with the glasses, the negative input and the positive input? We want to keep finding positive input. If you have any from me, please comment. I should be able to get the comments, and I'll be able to share them with everyone. Well, I read that, you know, for all the gloom and doom, this is not a woohoo pleasant thing, but it's a helpful thing, that King County, Washington took a soccer field and built a hospital bed. I think it was a 200 bed hospital on the soccer field. So while the soccer field can't be used for soccer, we're taking it and we're offering it for what really is a very important, and I would say, sacred use. So that's good news to me. We have so much ingenuity. We have so much creativity, but the fear and the negativity block that from us being able to access it. This is why we must learn how to, what I said yesterday, breathe. Notice that when you take a breath, you can't think. Your little brain takes a break, and I think that's wonderful. More good news. Do you remember hearing about the people in Italy that were confined, and still are, and they go out on their balconies and they sing? And if you find the clip on YouTube or Google or wherever, it is so beautiful. They were singing, and singing actually is very healthy. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said that it brings a harmony to the whole body, and our whole body responds. This is why it's very important to have the music that we listen to have a melody, have positive words, that we're listening to it, and that it's bringing us to a higher place, which is something we're going to talk about another day. So I was going to do a song for you. I was going to take out my guitar and strum something for you, but here's the thing. It wouldn't be very good, and I'm smart enough to know it wouldn't be very good. One of the reasons it wouldn't be very good is because if I picked it up, I would be covered in dust. Yeah, I know. It sits out there with the best intentions. I walk by, yep, one day, yep, one day. And yet I know that when I used to play my guitar regularly, Didn't have to be good. Made me happy, and I played, and I sang, and I thought, I think that's got to go into my project list. What do you think? 5 minutes a day? It'll take 2 weeks to build up calluses to begin with. Who knows? There's always that outside chance. By the time my calluses are up, we'll be out of here. And more good news from Italy. There is actually a company that is using one of those 3D printing machines, and they're printing valves for respirators. You know, for all the people that are saying it can't be done, there are dreamers that are doing it, right? Don't you want to be one of the dreamers that's doing it, no matter what it is? So the ideas are out there, the possibilities are out there. All you have to do is connect with them and know that you can do this. The other day I was, I don't know, I was online, I was listening to some kind of a broadcast or something, and this woman said, I am so bored. Is anybody feeling bored? Okay. Take a breath and sit down, because you may not like this one. This is the truth about boredom. Bored people are boring people. It's really, I don't know how anybody finds time to be bored. And if they are, there's nothing wrong with it. There's always room for us to grow, right? So if you're bored, please listen to these videos, because you're going to get ideas every day. How many people actually cleaned out that junk drawer? Anybody yet? I had a lanyard, and I wanted to, it had Tinkerbell all over it, and I wanted to use it, and it got kind of dirty. So I washed it. It sounds stupid. I washed a lanyard. But as I washed it, oh, I don't know how dirty it was, but as I washed it, it got beautiful. Oh, and the little Tinkerbells on it just stood up and sparkled, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So no matter, it might not be a big thing I did, but I washed a lanyard. I did this stuff. I did some research and stuff like that. There's always something you can do. Now, some of you probably sew. I do not. Yeah, somebody like that. I sewed 40 years ago, and I sewed my kids' clothes. I actually made some things for my husband, made things for myself. I wasn't real good at it, but they were wearable. And one day I had to wake up to the fact that I really am not a very good seamstress. Some people got some gifts, some people got other gifts. But if you can sew, you know how, okay, so the gloom and doomers are saying, we have no masks, you know, we're waiting on suppliers. Guess what? If you can sew, you can make surgical masks. You can make masks for the people who need them. If you sew, you can save lives. Is that not exciting? Very easy. Go onto Google and search make masks for, you know, make protective masks. The people are needing it. And if you're sitting home, heaven forbid you're saying bored with a what do you call it, sewing machine. And actually, if you've got some cotton, they want it made out of cotton, and they need some elastic. You can get that from Amazon if you have to. You don't have to go out for it. So it's like a quarter inch elastic. They said half inch will do. So go on Google. I will also put the link when I transfer this to YouTube. I will put the link for going to the site that has the videos on how easy they are to make. It's easy to make the masks. I don't have a sewing machine anymore, and I sewed because my sister sewed, and I love my sister, and I want to do what she did. That doesn't always work. Make a point of that. Don't try to be somebody else. So I want to talk a little bit about Plan B. We have things like, what if I get it? What if I don't, we've talked about that every day, turning the negative what ifs into the positive what ifs. But today, let's just look negative what ifs right straight in the face. Because if we want, we have to acknowledge they're there. Dr. Phil said what we don't acknowledge, we can't fix. So the fact is, we may have to make adjustments that we don't want to make. When we look at that, we make plan B. Now, Dale Carnegie, big hero of mine, on the other side right now, but I attended Dale Carnegie course classes, which were amazing. More about that another day because it's about connecting people. But he has a book called, and look it up if you're starting to feel anxious, you can get it probably on Audible. I don't know, but for sure you can get it on Amazon. It's How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And what he said was, consider the worst that could happen. What's the worst that could happen? Number 2, assume it happens. Number 3, make a plan. What do you do now? Now, a lot of folks in Unity might say, oh, no, because we're positive thinkers. We're not even going to entertain that thought. Well, let me tell you something. We've talked about the law of mind action. What we think about, we manifest. And we want to think about good things and manifest good things. Why would we then think about bad things or negative things that could happen? Let me tell you, when you make your plan B, that takes the fear out of your mind because you know you have something in your pocket just in case. There's a story about World War II. It was a World War II orphanage, and they could not get the kids to sleep at night. They would be up, they just wouldn't go to sleep. They'd be fussing and worrying and crying, and someone got a bright idea. And what they did is they gave each child a piece of bread from morning. And they took that piece of bread and they were to hold it and not eat it. Maybe they put it under their pillow, whatever they did with it. The children slept. Why? Because they knew they were going to have breakfast. If you take it out of your mind, make plan B, put it aside, let it be there, it's off your mind. Now your mind is not going to be constantly drawn back to your fears or anxieties. There's nothing wrong with plan B. Make yourself a plan B. Some of the things we have to deal with are either being overrun by our family, if we have kids and husband or mates or whatever at home, and the other is being isolated. And we're only in day 3, and I'm missing hugs. I'll tell you, I take that little pillow that Tristan gave me, and I hug it, and I close my eyes, and I feel those hugs, because there is great power in the mind. Now, for those of you that have family all over the place and crawling all over you, it can get wearing. So one of the things that you want to do is make a plan for a time when everybody goes to their corner. This can be done. Watch Super Nanny a little bit if you don't think it can be done, because she is brilliant and her stuff works. What? It works if you work it. It's like anything else in life. If you work it, it works. So in this time of adjustment from being, for me, around people to be all alone, even as I'm doing this and I see people have watched, I said, wow, maybe I touched this person. Maybe I touched that person. Maybe they got a good idea. Maybe it made their day better. And I don't feel so alone. When I see the little green boxes on the side saying, people are with me now, I get excited because I'm not alone. Don't be alone. Don't let yourself be alone. You know what this is a great time for? Take out your address book, you know, the one that's got the dust on it. We don't use them anymore because we're online. But if you take out your address book and you take a look at it, you will probably find the names of some people you haven't talked to forever. Pick up the phone. Give them a call. What do you got to lose? You may make some great connections that you forgot all about. That's the Dale Carnegie thing again. Okay, so I want to say something you're probably not going to want to listen to, but there's some things in life you don't want to talk about, but you have to. What I'd like to talk about briefly is called the 5 wishes. Most people don't have this, but I learned about it when I was in pulpit ministry, and we had people from a group called Aging with Dignity come out, and you don't have to be aging to get what I'm going to tell you, okay? They talk about a program called the 5 wishes. The 5 wishes includes things like, I know you don't want to hear it, includes things like a what is that, a revocable power of attorney, non-resuscitate, how you want to spend your last days, what if, and we don't want to think about our mortality. I'm sorry, we don't. But that's another thought that hangs on our mind sometimes. What if something happens to me? You know what? If something happens to you and you did not prepare, you're going to stick your family with stuff to do that is very challenging for them and weighs heavy on their heart. So I invite you to, and I don't talk about it more. I'm just going to say, go online, or I'll try to find the link and post it for the 5 wishes. This is another thing that you take off your mind once you've got it done. It took me until about 2011 to do it. And I've known about it since 1995. Oh, it took me 16 years. But now that it's done, I don't have to think about it. You know that thing about, like, what happens if you're in the hospital and you're just in a vegetative state, they're just keeping you alive, you know. Who's going to pull the plug? That's a pretty scary thought, all right? Who is going to pull the plug? Who's going to give that order? You know what? I took it out of my kids' hands. Can you imagine your children having to make that decision? Could you imagine the fight and the split in the family that could happen? That's a hard decision. So I gave it to someone else that I love and I trust. So these are the little things. Knowing that that is all off my mind, I don't have to worry about it. Okay? Okay. So this is another not the pleasantest one, but stay with me, okay? What happens if you get sick? Well, I'll tell you one thing that bothers me. Should I get sick and should I have to go to the hospital, I don't want anyone to have to come into my house and find it's a mess. If you want to talk about incentive to keep the place clean, I'm not saying I'm going to get sick. I'm saying I want my house nice and clean because that's how I like it. When my house is clean, I feel very much more at peace. I know it's tempting, especially if you have kids and stuff like that. It's tempting to kind of leave this here and leave that there and leave that there. Next thing you know, you've got clutter. And clutter literally weighs on our minds. And then after a while, it becomes just a part of the landscape, which means it gets worse. You want some incentive to get that house done? Go turn on Hoarders. That'll show you. You'll be running around vacuuming and cleaning and dusting. So seriously, you will feel better if you keep your house clean. I have a rule I picked up one day on the internet, and you know you can hear something 1,000 times, but there's that one day it catches. One day I learned never go to bed with dishes in the sink. And I thought, that's interesting. And this is when I still had Sammy. She was still living with me and everything. And we made that rule in the house. The sink was to be empty every night, regardless of whether she did it or I did it. We always went to bed. Because when you get up in the morning and you see a sink full of dirty dishes, or you see clutter around the house, you already see a bunch of stuff you have to do that you don't want to do. So, what are you going to do? Write it down. You're going to keep the dishes, keep the sink clean. Now I try to keep it clean with every meal. Now, again, we don't want to consider the possibility, but we would be foolish to deny that it exists, that should we, become ill. I have another thing in my little backup plan, and that is paper plates. I am very ecologically conscious. I do not use paper plates. I do not use plastic that I don't have to. I really, really try. I did find back when we had Girls Weekend last year, we bought a whole bunch of biodegradable plates, disposable plates. And I have some saved up, and little plates, little bowls, so little dishes, bigger dishes. So in the event that I should get sick, I don't have to think about dishes. I'm not going to use them now because that would just be lazy. Should I get sick, using those disposable plates that are not going to be harmful to the environment will keep everything cleaner with less on my side. So, okay, I didn't want to have to talk about those kind of things, but as positive as we are, we want a plan B. We want to know things are taken care of. Remember what your mother always said? Make sure you got clean underwear on because you never know if you might have an accident or something. Well, you don't. And it doesn't have to have anything to do with any pandemic. It can do with slipping in the bathroom and hitting your head on something, then you got to go to the hospital and somebody got to clean. No, I don't want anybody to have to clean my house. I don't want them looking at my stuff. My stuff is fine. So do it for you. Do it for you. So don't let the clutter build up. Got kids in the house? Go back to Super Nanny because she always works well with teaching the kids how to clean stuff up. Yesterday we were talking about prayer, and we talked about, as a part of the prayer, to do a gratitude list. I don't know if any of you thought about that. Did you start a gratitude list? Did you work in a journal? Please, please. You will love having that journal in years to come when this is all behind us. We are making history, and we want it to be a good story. In Unity, we practice what we call positive prayer. Now, there's two kinds of praying. There's the praying where we try to change God, and there's the praying where we try to be changed and transformed ourselves. Charles Fillmore used to say, God doesn't want any begging prayers. God gave us so many gifts, divine ideas, skills, talents, that we can't always look for a rescue. So I invite you to think of the ways that you can use the gifts and skills and talents that are given you and hold the positive thoughts behind them. If you take the word can't, C-A-N-T, and you take off the T, you've got can. I call that T the can opener. Boom. You can. You can do things more than you can even imagine. So instead of, like in Unity, instead of saying, Dear God, don't let me get this virus, we say, thank you, God, that I am whole, that I am healthy, that I am strong, that mighty currents of God's healing energy flow through me now. That's what affirmative prayer is. Affirmative prayer is holding a vision, holding a positive vision, seeing things working out. Eric Butterworth said, don't so much worry about trying to make things right. Try to see them right. We can't set them right. We can see them right. This will one day be behind us. So we want to stay positive. We want to know. We want to be strong. We want to come out of this better than we ever have been. That brings us to a question. Can we influence the future? Do we have the power to influence the future? We absolutely do. You've got it. I've got it. But what we have to do is shift from the low, negative, fear-based, anxiety-wrought kind of thinking to the positive thinking. Look for the good. I have a dear friend who I hope pops in. We're friends on Facebook, so I hope she pops in. Her name is Florence. And when I was going through my second divorce, I ain't no quitter. But when I was going through that, I was devastated. I could not believe I screwed up twice. Twice. At least the first one lasted 17 years. This was 3 years. And I'm like, I was so horrified. So she would come into my office. We used to work together at, I don't think it's there anymore. It was a beauty school in Connecticut, in Hartford. I don't know. But we used to work there together, and she'd see me sitting at my desk, and I'd be like, she would walk into my office. Sometimes I wouldn't even notice her. She'd take her hand, and she'd go, stop! And she'd whack my desk, and I'd be like, she snapped me out of that horrible pool of self-pity and doubt and fear. When I look back today, and I think about the energy I wasted being miserable, when really a door to a wonderful new life had opened in getting beyond something that wasn't working. So we have the power to affirm the good, and we deny, not that the negative exists. We do not exist that this current health challenge exists. We do not give it power to affect our lives. Even if we get it, we do not give it power. And I'm gonna really invite you to experiment in this with me, and to affirm every day when you get up in your prayer time. Affirm your health. Affirm that you're good. Affirm that mighty works are being done by the genius that God has put in our minds to make a difference. That the vaccinations are coming through now. There's two kinds of vaccinations, What does a vaccination do? It gives you immunity. Something else that gives us immunity is changing the way we think. I know this sounds real radical, but I believe with every fiber of my being that we can utilize the power, our spiritual powers, to become immune. I used to go up to people, hug them, I couldn't get sick if I wanted to. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. I have had a miraculous healing. We'll talk about that another day. Just keep tuning in. It's a page turner. I want to see what she's going to talk about having a miraculous healing. I did, and I think it's quite fascinating. And it wasn't like a life or death matter, but it was definitely a life matter that changed me dramatically. Okay, I have something that Spirit gave me this a very long time ago, and it was about being a change maker in the world. You can be a change maker. I can be a change maker. You are not crippled by being at home. You are empowered to do something great, and I so encourage you to do that something great. To be a change maker, MACR, stands for Mutual Accountability and Collective Responsibility. We are mutually accountable to each other, you and me. We are collectively mutually accountable, collectively responsible. We are collectively responsible for the higher good. We're one. we're not only one with each other, we're one with the planet. We're one with the people of the world. We're one with the birds. We're one with it all. I think that something was attributed to Chief Seattle, but he apparently didn't really say it. But whoever said it, it was powerful. It said that we're all strands in a great weaving, and if one of those breaks, we all feel it. I have a bookmark I love it, love it. Here, write this one down because you're going to like it. And there will be such a oneness that when one weeps, the other will taste salt. Compassion, knowing we are one. That's what we need more than anything in the world. I want you to ask yourself right now, is there someone I need to contact today? Do I need to make a call, send an email, check in on somebody, knock on their door and stand back 10 feet and say, hey, how you doing? Because together, we can make a difference by being mutually accountable and collectively responsible. Through that, we can be change makers. And I used to have little wristbands, actually. They're all gone now, but I've been thinking about making them again. It might be time. And it said, change, M-A-C-R. Together we can do it. Together we're going to do this. Don't worry about getting a corner on the market. Speaking of which, there's something that's going on right now, and I don't know all the details, so I can't speak to the details. But it would appear that there were some politicians, some senators that got advance notice of, what was happening with the stuff that was going on and the possibility it's going to affect the markets, and they dumped a whole lot of stuff and made a whole lot of money before everything tanked. Well, that is putting, whether it's valid or whether it's not, let's use it as an example, an action like that is putting self before the whole. To put the whole before the self is not to not count yourself. You're important, you're valid. So, but what it means is we take care of ourselves, but we take care of each other. Was it, now I forget, Barbara Bush? It takes a village to raise a child? One of them. One of the first ladies said it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to keep a planet safe. It takes a village to overcome a pandemic. When you think about staying in, don't just think about how, don't sit in a corner and pout about how miserable things are and listen to negative news and watch violent things on TV. No, instead of that, know that what you are doing in your confinement is you are giving a gift. You are giving a gift by preventing this from spreading more. Isn't that amazing? I encourage you to be that gift. We always want to look at both sides of everything. I did bring down the daily word for today. Today's Friday, and the daily word for today is forgive. A lot of times I'd like you to think about someone that you may be having a problem with, someone might be angry with you or whatever. I invite you to, or you'll be angry with them, to forgive them. There's no need, especially in challenging times like this, to hold a grudge, to think poorly of someone that for real or perceived offenses. You know what? I'm thinking there are probably more perceived offenses than actually offenses. So if you have anyone in your mind that you need to forgive, think about them and say, is that for real? Did I just, especially people get offended on the internet because someone types in all caps or something and they say, oh my God, they're yelling at me. Some people type in all caps because they don't know any different. I will type a all caps word when I want to emphasize it, but there's so many times that people think that think something that isn't so, that the person never even thought about. So if you're holding any grudges, today the daily word says, let it go. And the affirmation is, the forgiving love of God moves through me and blesses others. Let go of resentment. You know what resentment is? It's re-feeling the offense that you believe you received. Don't feel it again. Forgive and it'll be gone. You're going to be feeling better for it. And the scripture was from Luke 6:37. Do not judge and you will not be judged. Do not condemn and you will not be condemned. Forgive and you will be forgiven. So that's a little thing. How about putting that on the project list? You got anybody, you got to do a project with that? Okay. Another word about staying inside. You know, see, I don't know how to tell you this, but you can't see this thing that's going around. It's not visible to our human eye. I thought to myself today, what if we thought of it, I know this might sound negative, I don't mean it negative, but what if you thought about it the same way you would think about a sniper? A sniper could be anywhere. That's their job, to hide, hit you when you're not paying attention to it. So just, it's a silly thought, just think on that sometime. I'm gonna be letting you go to your day. I'm going to invite you to expand your comfort zone today, to reach out and do something you haven't done before. The way I'm going to expand my comfort zone today is I'm going to call one of our Unity ministers that offered help in learning how to use Zoom, because I would love to be able to do this, you know, aside, have a Zoom coffee hour. What do you think of that? We could all get together at the same time, online, with our coffee or glass of wine or cocoa or tea or something, and have a chat where we chat back and forth. So I'm looking at going from one-way communication to multiple-way communication. Why? I think it'll help us out. So for now, I hope my new surroundings work. I hope my connection was better. There wasn't so much pixelation. And I hope you have a blessed day and that you look for the good, not for the challenges. And one of my dear fellow Unity ministers, when we were both going to ministerial school, and she would say, when she got a bad thought, cancel and erase, love, love, love. So she would say, cancel and erase, and my friend Florence would say, stop. They both changed my life. No matter what it looks like, I invite you to know divine order is now manifest. That we are in this, we're serving a purpose, we will come out of this, and if we do our part, we're going to come out of it better than ever. So God bless you, and have a great day. And I'm going to have to turn that off by myself because I don't have a remote. Take care. See you tomorrow. Hoping you'll join me.